known for her television roles on Three's Company and Step by Step. She has an online talk show breaking through on cafemom.com. Her new weekly talk show, The Suzanne Show, features ways to stay ageless and live a more fulfilling life, and premieres on Lifetime. I'm going to be a guest on it. I'm on soon, right?
Yes, and darling.
I had a great time. My wife came on. It was a lot of fun.
It was. I really enjoyed being on the other side of the chair this time.
Well, you did a great job. You do a great job. You're very good at it.
I learned from you.
Okay.
All
now,
those years.
well, you're doing two different things, right? What's the internet show as opposed to the...
The internet show is 7 minutes long because that's determined by the attention span on the internet.
So the 7-minute show consists of what?
You know, my whole passion, I don't know how I became this, but it's all health and cutting edge medicine. And it's, you know, I interview doctors, scientists, professionals about subjects that don't get a lot of play on mainstream.
You know, we've talked so much over the years. You broke the breast cancer stuff
With
on
you?
our show,
Right.
yeah. So we go back a long way.
We do.
How did you get into this health thing?
I think well, I gained weight. I gained weight around age 40. I didn't understand. I've always been skinny. And then I realized it was hormones. And then I got cancer. And cancer, when they wanted me to take chemotherapy, I thought, no, I can't do that.
Why did you say no?
Because I hadn't seen anybody do well on chemotherapy. And I found out since, in all the books that I've written, that chemo does kill cancer, but it doesn't kill the cancer stem cell. And if you don't kill the cancer stem cell, you have not killed the cancer. And that's why there's a return rate after 5 years, because the chemo gets into the DNA of every cell in the body.
What's the other side?
The nutrition and the fuel of the body is food. So if you're putting inferior, poison-filled, chemical-filled, pesticide-filled food in your body, it's not going to give you the right kind of fuel,
So
like a Maserati.
Why not be a vegan?
Oh,
Look at people. Bill Clinton looks terrific. Steve Wynn, everybody I see who's a vegan, they look healthy.
Do you think Bill? I don't think Bill Clinton looks good at all.
I think he looks trim. I'd love to.
I think he looks trim. You look good. I mean, you know, you love lamb chops, and I love a good steak.
Yeah, I do.
And I think some people really require protein. I look at Bill Clinton, I think whatever he's doing is right, because he looks healthier than he used to.
Certainly
If it were me, I'd throw in a steak now and then.
You're writing books all the time. Your show is different from any other, right? Because you're so much health-oriented, right?
Yes, and I really want to go full in depth on hormones. I was just looking at show number 1 today. We were looking at a rough cut of it, and the doctors there are talking about men's testosterone and how from 40 on a man starts declining in testosterone. But in the medical community, they're not teaching about hormones. Well, that's okay if we're all going to die in our 60, 65 when you and I were kids, when people used to die. But we're not going to live. You're going to live. You're even freezing yourself, right?
Yeah, I'm
right.
free, yeah.
Right. And I plan to live to at least 110 and then make up my mind when I get there. I had a doctor on, Dr. Abraham Morgenthaler. And I've learned not to...
Him.
You know him. So
I read his book about testosterone.
Testosterone for Life, okay. I have learned not to interview naturopaths or homeopaths just because they're not taken seriously in the orthodox medical world. Although I think
he's a medical doctor.
He's a medical doctor on the faculty at Harvard.
Correct.
So he called me earlier this year and he said, I think I got something. He said, I just completed a small but important study here at Harvard where we took men with elevated PSAs, as high as 8.5 on one. One gentleman was 90 years old, 8.5 PSA. That's usually, well, they usually leave him alone at that point. Prostate. Yeah. He said it didn't matter what stage prostate cancer they had, 4, 3, didn't matter. When I gave them testosterone, their cancer regressed. He said it's been 2 years, not a single recurrence, not one elevated issue of the PSA. So I thought that makes sense.
But in many cases, testosterone increases the chance of cancer.
This is not what he said. And I asked him about this. He said in 1941, there was one guy, his last name was Huggins, Dr. Huggins. He won the Nobel Prize. He had 3 cases of testosterone, of prostate cancer. When he went down into the bowels of Harvard to look at the original records, 2 of the cases were invalid. The one that they based the Nobel Prize on was not an accurate test. He said, so all these years, men have been deprived of testosterone and given very brutal treatments for elevated PSA and for prostate cancer. Brutal. You know, I both know people like that.
Well, I had it. I had radiation.
Okay, and had you known Morgenthaler a few years ago, you probably wouldn't have had to have radiation.
Maybe. I hope so.
So to me, this is a game changer, and this is why I do it. I'm the right messenger and the wrong messenger.
But you're absorbed, isn't it? You are.
I'm absorbed in it.
Yeah, you are bizarre. Not
I know,
bizarre, in a complimentary way.
I get it.
That consumes you. Right?
It does.
So, but I always want to ask you this.
Okay.
If all this medical fraternity and all these prescriptions and drug companies are villains in a sense, and you've painted them that way, how come, since most of society takes the prescriptions, most of society doesn't go your way, they go down, they take the chemicals, how come we're living longer?
But how are we living? What I'm writing about is, let's live longer with total quality. I mean, I'm a 65-year-old woman. When I was a kid, when you were 65, you either died or retired. I'm having a different experience because I'm on full hormone replacement. I'm very sexual, which is a great thing.
You're sitting with a Scorpio. Don't do that.
I know I have a Scorpio sun. Oh my God, you guys are terrible. I have energy. I can do a handstand in yoga. I mean, I have strong bones. I don't have any brain deterioration. What I asked in my last book was, take a look at the present paradigm of aging. People are old and decrepit. Okay, old we can't do anything about. Decrepit, could we age without becoming decrepit and frail? Right up till the end with great quality and have wisdom. Because what's happening with all the pills is that it's robbing people of their wisdom. And you and I both know a lot of people who are older who can't remember the end of their sentence.
You're right. Suzanne Somers, her new shows are premiering on Lifetime, and you could also see her on the internet. And she's an amazing woman. We've been friends for a long time. Coming up, we'll talk about other things and her reuniting with her former co-star after a feud of 30 years. Let it go. We'll be back next. We'll get back to health in a minute. She's got 2 shows. She's a fabulous woman. She's 65 years old and she's amazing. She's Suzanne Summers. Okay, tell me about that feud that was with Joyce DeWitt, right?
Yes.
30 years.
Yes, but I wasn't mad for 30 years. I just...
Why did you stop talking to each other?
They stopped talking to me.
Because you revolted against the show, right?
I didn't revolt against the show. Here's what happened. My contract was up. By the way,
if you're young, this was headlines everywhere.
Yeah. My contract was up. It was the #1 show in America when there were only 3 networks. I had the highest demographics of any woman in television, and the men were all making 10 times more than me. So my contract's up. I go in and I say, I'd like you to pay me what you're paying the men. But they thought they were negotiating with Chrissy Snow. And so I always say my packaging was wrong. So what happened at the show was mob fury was created, that she's the enemy, and
Joyce DeWitt sided with
you
management?
were with them or with me, and if you were with me, you were against them. So nobody sided with me. And none of them ever talked to me again until John Ritter, right before he died.
You came on our show when he died.
That's right. You have a good memory. All those pills you're taking are good.
Did you feel sorry when he died? I mean, you had to feel sorry when he died.
I miss him. In fact, we had decided that we would work together again. And
really?
Yeah. And he wanted me to come on his show, and I said, you know, it's been so long, and I'm always asked, why I miss you and John together, because that was a great chemistry. I said, why don't we look for a project together? He said, let's do that. So that's how we ended it, and then he died.
Would have been a riot if he said to you, but you get less. But so how did you reunite with DeWitt?
So I have this internet talk show, and it was not my idea. I wish I could say I was so smart. One of my producers came up to me and she said, I took the liberty of calling Joyce DeWitt, and she said that she'd be amenable to coming on the show. And I said, who gave you authorization to go to Joyce DeWitt? I don't want to talk to Joyce DeWitt. We haven't talked in 30 years. I don't want to talk to Joyce DeWitt. So I'm in New York. I go back to my hotel room that night, and I'm lying there thinking, well, that is stupid, Suzanne. I mean, it's been 30 years, and she's open, and why don't you have the largesse to accept this? So the next day I came in and I said, let's do this. So when she came around the bend, I hugged her, and it was a genuine hug. I hugged this woman and I just held it. And I thought, how stupid we are, how long it takes to grow up. And that's what it was. And I think it gave kind of a resolution to people who like that show.
Do you talk to each other now?
And email, right. We're very different people, so it's never going to be great friends, but...
Do you think one of the problems that you faced, she faced, that pretty women are assumed to be less intelligent by management?
At that time, for sure.
You think that's changed?
I think I changed it. When I came on that show, I was going to be a chef. I was never going to do this. I always thought that I would cook. But I needed to make money because I was a single mother and all that. When I came into the set the very first day, in all my honesty, I said, I don't know what I'm doing here. I have never studied acting. I am going to learn, and I will do my best. And so there was a guy, his name was Mickey Ross. He was one of the producers, very talented. And he took me under his wing. In the first year, I'd do a scene, and then I'd look around for him, and I'd look, and he'd go like this, or he'd go like that. And so that's how we worked. I was his creation. Somewhere in the middle of year 2, I got it, and suddenly I understood the timing, and I understood John's timing. And as a good student, I want to show my teacher, I'm ready to fly out of the nest. What I didn't realize happened was that he fell in love with me in the way that a father might desire his daughter but knows it's wrong, because the age difference was tremendous. And then I married Alan Hamill. And from the moment I married Alan Hamill, he developed an anger towards me that was not understandable. And I certainly didn't understand it at the time. It took me all these years with perspective to look at it. And so when the negotiation happened, Alan said, you know, Suzanne's #1 demographic, she's been on hundreds of magazines, the covers, and blah, 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 and she'd like to be paid, you know, what you're paying the men, which Carol O'Connor at that time was making $250. Alan asked for $150, what Alan Alda was making. A lot of money, but at that time, it was an exorbitant amount of money, but that's what the men were being paid. And Mickey Ross sat there, and when Alan was finished, he took his cigarette out of his mouth, threw it on the floor, stomped it out with his foot, leans over to Alan Hamill, he said, "You want me to share my blood with her?" And Alan, nose to nose, said, "Yes." And my career was over.
And we'll be back. Next, Suzanne talks about how, it's a great story, how she's staying healthy and still using the Thigh Master. Hey, stay with us. Don't forget the Suzanne Somers Show is coming to Lifetime. I'll be one of the guests. It was a great time. You will enjoy it. She does a great job. You still use the Thigh Master. Do you?
I actually do. It's really good. It's good for the inner thighs.
That was a great product for you, right? You and it. That was the first infomercial.
It was the first.
Now you have what, the Face Master?
Face Master.
What is that?
That's a non-surgical facelift machine. And we've sold a few million of those.
A facelift machine.
Yeah, it's a microcurrent. It's like 2 wands, and you know how it works? If you used a free weight at the gym, and what you're doing when you do this is a bicep curl, you're pumping up the muscle under the skin, and then the skin looks smoother. This pumps the muscle up under the skin and keeps your face from collapsing.
How often you use it?
Every day. 17 years, every day.
How many vitamins you take every day?
I take about 230 or so. I know I'm at the far end.
Does it disturb you that the FDA has only, this is true, only ever said that one additive works, and that is fish oil?
Yes.
Other than fish oil, they endorse nothing, not vitamin B, not vitamin A, not CQ10, not all the other things they advertise in all these magazines. You'll have your memory back. All of that, they say, unproven.
Yes, but you ought to understand the revolving door of the FDA. You understand the back and forth between pharmaceutical companies and the FDA. So if there's a drug out there that can claim what a vitamin or a supplement can't, it's better for the drug company. So I think we need me out there. I'm all alone. I don't know how this happened.
You think it's a conspiracy?
I don't think it's a conspiracy. I think just somebody needs to be out there like myself and this army of Western trained alternative doctors that allow me to go out in front of them to say there are options. Here's what Lipitor does. Here's the natural way to deal with it. Then you decide, because I never tell anybody what to do. It's just, okay, here's Lipitor over here, but here's
Why do you
pomegranate
take
juice.
over 200 pills a day?
Because I don't believe our soil is as nutritious as it once was. It doesn't have the minerals and selenium things it once had. I don't think our food is as nutritious as it once was. When I got cancer, because I didn't take chemotherapy, I decided at that time, I am going to eat as though my life depends on it. So to me, the supplements are part of the food that I take. So I'm probably at the far end. I'm always hearing about, the latest. I think if you're going to take a few, you would take fish oil first. Fish oil, everybody needs fish oil. Vitamin D3, everybody needs vitamin D3. CoQ10, calcium with magnesium, because calcium alone without magnesium, you can have problems. And probably the green tea extract. I would, if you're just going to take 5.
Okay, just take. You don't have to take 200.
You don't.
Not have to be
You
wacko.
don't. You don't. Oh no, one more. Not the green tea. That would be 6. Resveratrol. Resveratrol.
I take that.
Yes.
Of course, my wife takes it. I don't
Okay,
know. It
all right.
makes you live longer, right? Coming up next, Suzanne, we'll wind up things. We'll talk about the election and take some of your questions. We'll be right back. We're back with Suzanne Somers. One day we'll do the outtakes after I pass away.
After we're both dead.
And we're both frozen that day. Okay.
Yeah, but that's a long time from now.
Did you endorse Mitt Romney?
Oh, you're not going to pull me
No,
into
they told me that you endorsed Mitt Romney.
No, I didn't. Here's what I said on Twitter. I said, Clint Eastwood tells it like it is. He made my day. I loved Clint Eastwood standing there. And I thought he had a lot of guts. And I thought
A little out of line, though, when he said he can't do that to himself.
That didn't bother me, but I have a body sense of humor, and I totally got him. And I know Clint, don't you?
Yeah, very well.
Yeah. So I thought he went out there. He feels that we're all being hoaxed, and I wanted to hear what he had to say. So I enjoyed him. It's tough to go out there without a teleprompter. I speak without a teleprompter.
What does that have to do with endorsing Romney? Because of Clint Eastwood, you're endorsing Romney?
But I didn't say I endorsed Romney.
Oh,
I just said now, when I said Clint Eastwood made my day, oh my God, the vitriol that came through on Twitter that I said to my team, I said, can you post a recipe of me making homemade berry jam so we can change the thread here? Because I'm in business, I really don't want to take a stand on either. And I didn't realize I was taking a stand by saying I like Clint Eastwood.
Do you like the Clinton speech?
I think he is great. I met him at Martha's Vineyard at his birthday party. It was a party for 40 people. And I had a book that time, I think it was Ageless. And it was expected to go to #1 right away, because I'd done your show, and my books always go to #1 when I'm on your show. And instead, Clinton's book came out in front of me. And so I had a couple glasses of wine, and I go up to him and I said, well, damn you. And he said, what? And I said, I have this book that should be #1, and now yours has come around and pushed me down to #2. I said, you're in my way. And he said, I would never do anything to be in your way. And I thought, that's the charm that they talk about.
Okay, we have some social media questions. Monica Rossi wants to know, what's your biggest achievement, biggest failure, and biggest dream? What's your biggest achievement?
I'm being successfully married for 44 years. That's a big achievement. And to be in love.
On love on the first date. Sex on opening night.
Sex on opening night. That's my philosophy now to all young women. Have sex on the first night. Here I am. I am in love. And that is what's so nice.
You married a great guy.
I married a great guy.
Biggest failure?
My biggest failure was turning down, are we talking professionally? Turning down a 3-picture deal that Michael Eisner offered me at the height of Three's Company for Disney, Outrageous Fortune, and 2 others. And my manager at the time, Jay Bernstein, said it was a lousy deal and he wanted $1.5 million or something, and I don't know anything. I was going to be a cook.
You'd have been great in Outrageous.
And so Bette Midler got my movies, but she was great.
What's your biggest dream? Do you still have a dream? You've accomplished so much. What could you be dreaming of?
Yes, I have a dream. I have a dream. My dream is that I can make a viable choice for Americans, that you can choose whether you want to partake in orthodox medicine or alternative, or both, like they do in France, and your insurance will pay for it. Because right now, I write these books and I write about great things that you can do. But you know what? If a woman wants bioidentical hormones, she's got to reach in her own pocket. So what I hear all the time is a little resentment. I'm glad you can afford them. I can't afford them. And I think for the way I get to feel on these hormones, they're like the juice of youth. They just, your skin is better, your hair is better, your brain is better, everything is better on these hormones. And I think it's not fair that they don't have that choice. In France, it doesn't matter. They go homeopathic first in France, and then they resort to Western second.
Bazida Bazarali Khan wants to know if you consider yourself a role model. I would say you are. Do you think yourself as a role model?
I do. I think that I am the new face of the matriarch. I think that this is what it looks like now, and that what I have to offer now that I didn't in my earlier years is I have some wisdom now, and I have some perspective.
And what do you make of, Gwen Dupree asked it, what do you make of the fact that it's a youth-oriented society?
Well,
65-year-old women don't get roles.
But see, that I haven't acted for 32 years. I reinvented.
Of your own desire.
Yeah, I reinvented. This is what I've learned in my career. I can now feel, careers are like this. You've had that too. High, low,
Sure.
high, low. Oh, it's really fun up to here. It's really fun up there. I have learned to feel when it's just about to go there, and that's what my smarts are. I go that way then. I've not let myself go down. I use it like judo, using that negative energy to work for me. So, okay, I think we've mined everything we can out of this passage, so let's go try that. So right now, does that make sense?
Yeah, you follow the Bernard Baruch philosophy of stocks when asked, the famed financier, when asked, what's your theory of stock buying? And he said, buy low, sell high.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good theory, right?
Yeah, right. Well, in my career, why wait till I crash? Why wait till you're a has-been or a nobody? I never let anybody say I was a has-been or a nobody.
You're a great lady, and it's a joy being your friend.
It's a joy being yours. Thank you. And you are, now that I sit on the other side of the table, you are the best of the best.
Thanks to my guest, Suzanne Summers. Her new show, The Suzanne Show, will be on Lifetime, and you can find me on Twitter at King's Things.